Flosstube friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Chris. Today is Friday, March 28th, 2025, and I'm here to share my March stitching with you. If you're new, welcome, and if you're a returning viewer, thanks so much for coming back. I really appreciate your support. So the month of March, I've got a little bit of stitching done, not a lot. So last weekend, I was away. I had a little Stitchy weekend getaway with some of my Stitchy friends. And so I was able to do, some pretty solid stitching there because that was sort of our whole goal of the weekend. And I did some good stitching earlier in the month, but the last week or so, I haven't done a whole lot of stitching. So, but I do still have a few projects with a bit of progress on them to share with you. So we'll get into that. So yeah, I did want to share, I had mentioned in previous videos that I was doing a little bit of secret stitching for my little Stitchy weekend, and my friends and I had done a berry exchange last year, so we thought it would be fun to do that again this year. Last year we made berries for everybody, but this year we thought we'll just do one berry and just do like a typical smalls exchange sort of thing. So I thought I would share the berry that I got. So here it is, Let It Snow, with this adorable cardinal on ice skates. So my friend Shannon made this berry, and it's stitched 1/1, I believe on 25 count is what Shannon said. So these little teeny tiny stitches, but it is so adorable. I don't want it to snow anymore, Shannon, but I'll tuck this away until next December, and then it can snow then. And then she has this fun little topper that she puts on the top. So yeah, so that was the berry that I got. Thank you, Shannon. I'll put a picture in here. So this is the berry that I made. Last year when we did the exchange, I did a Erica Michaels berry. She's got the most patterns that I'm aware of anyway out there for berries. But this year I wanted to try something different, so I did one of the hands-on design berries. So I did I think this was the first one. I think it's just a strawberry. So I'll put a picture in of what the finished berry looked like. And actually, Shannon got my berry. It was sort of just like, we just sort of drew numbers and took turns, we had them wrapped kind of thing, and then we opened them all at the end. So yeah, so that was our little berry exchange that we did. And it was a great weekend. It was so fun just to, step away from normal routines and just hang out with your friends and stitch and eat some good food. And I highly recommend it. So, but let's get into what stitching I did do. So let's start with my focus project. So my first focus project is Walk with Dog. This is my oldest whip. I just try and work on it once a week, maybe put in 400 stitches or so, just to make slow progress. I love this artwork. It's artwork by Leonid Afremov. It's charted by Artisy, but it is, for me, a challenging stitch. There's a lot of color changes. I have decided to stitch it on 25 count, 1/1 full cross. So I do find it something I can't sit down and stitch for hours at a time, for days at a time. I lose interest, and I want to stitch another thing. So I figure this is a good compromise. I'll make slow and steady progress, and maybe someday, maybe I'll get it finished. So I'll put a picture of where it would have been the last time that you would have seen it. And so here is where it is now. So I've just been filling in a little bit. So I've been working sort of on this side coming across. And I just take a color and stitch all of the places where that color is. I'm kind of working in like a 20 stitch high row across, kind of like you're reading or a typewriter. And then I'll go back to this side again and come across. But so yeah, so I filled in a little bit more on that side with all those blues and a bit of white and stuff in there. So yeah, very cool. Itty bitty teeny tiny stitches and many, many, many colors. But it's going to be spectacular when it's finished. So that was Walk with Dog. My other focus piece that I'm working on is going to be a gift for my sister. It's called Weimaraner. I'll put a picture of what it will look like when it's finished. I didn't bring my cards with me today, so I don't have all the details of designers and such, but that will be in the drop-down box down below if you want that information, or you can just leave me a comment if there's something I haven't mentioned that you want to know. I will put a picture of where this was the last time that you saw it. I'm stitching this on a 32 count linen called, again, I can't remember, but it's a hand-dyed by Rolanda linen. I want to say oyster, but I don't think it is oyster. But here is where he is now. So I finally got to that other eye, so he looks a little better without just the creepy one eye. And yeah, there's a few blue stitches in that eye. There's, I think, maybe 6 blue stitches. Those are the only instances. Yeah, so he's looking really good. I think I may be 40%, 46%, getting close to halfway. So my goal, I would really like to try and finish on my sister's birthday's in October. So I thought it'd be nice to try and have it finished and framed to gift to her for her birthday, but it doesn't matter. I'll just, whenever I finish it, I finish it. So those are my 2 sort of focus projects that I try and work on. Weimaraner, again, I just kind of work on them once a week or twice a week whenever I feel if I want to change from whatever else I'm stitching on. So, and I did take him with me to our weekend away and stitched on him a little bit there. So let's go to my weekly whips. So my weekly whips are, I basically have a list of all of my whips, and each one I work on for a week, and I'm working chronologically through the list. So the ones that I worked on the ones that I worked on this month. The first one is daisies. I'll put a picture up here of what it will look like when it's finished. This is a pattern I got off of Etsy, and I just really loved how bright and happy the colors were in it. So that's why I decided I wanted to stitch it. So I'll put a picture of where it would have been the last time that I worked on it. And here, so when I first started, I went all the way across, but now I'm working on the diagonal, as you can see. So yeah, that is where I'm at. So I've got quite a bit of that lower daisy done, and you can see the edge of another daisy up there. So that was exciting to stitch something other than the blue. So yeah. So yeah, I'm having fun stitching it in the diagonal. It's going fairly quickly. Again, I'm kind of just taking a color and stitching it anywhere it is in the diagonal, and then picking another color and moving my way down. So yeah, so that's daisies. My other weekly whip that I worked on was Silver Creek Samplers Eye on the Sparrow. And this one was fairly close to being completed, and I did finish it. I actually took it with me to the weekend away and was able to finish it. So there it is. I did make a slight change. So down here on the original, Diane had put the date and her initials, but I didn't know that I wanted to do that, so I just charted a few more leaves and berries, just sort of copying the other ones, and stuck them in there. So yeah, let's finish. That little bird's so cute. So I was just looking at, I wondered if I'd missed some stitches in here, but no, that's how it started. So that was a finish. Ding, ding, ding. Ring the bell. And yeah, that's kind of it. I should have had one more whip that I worked on this week, but I haven't been stitching. I've been distracted by some other things. But I do have one more project that was actually kind of a new start. It was from my Talon Emblems Birds and Berries series. So there's 4 patterns in this series. I've completed 2. And I'm calling the whole series, or considering the whole series, as one whip because I want to have them all stitched, kind of thing. So it's sort of a new start, but it's not really a new start because it's part of the same, what I'm considering the same whip. So this is the yellow warbler that I'm working on, and this is what I got done. So yeah, I worked on this most of Saturday. I got a fair bit done. The colors are just so interesting to me and surprising, and I would never think to put some of these colors together, but I think it's just genius the way Chris-Anne can sort of see what things are going to be like. So yeah, so that was really fun. I really enjoy stitching that series. They're just a nice, relaxing, fun, small blocks of color, enough color differences that it's interesting, sort of thing. So so yeah, that was, I guess, everything that I've stitched on this month. So a little bit on a few projects, nothing earth-shattering, but you know, it's all progress. So so that will bring us to the whip go calls for the month of March. So if you remember on my whip go board, the last month's numbers were 9 and 24. So 9 was Winter Squirrel, which is a blue flower design. So I did put him in a frame. So there's what he looks like. He's so cute. So my goal, so he's just on a piece of mat board that fits in this 8x10 frame, I think. Not sure. It's just a standard frame, and I've taken to kind of lacing a lot of stuff. I like how secure it feels. So he is laced onto a piece of mat board, and my long-term goal is I want to stitch some more Janine's squirrels, and I'm hoping they'll all, as far as I know, they're fairly similar in size. So I'm hoping that I can just switch them in and out of this frame, but we'll see. I still have to stitch more, so who knows. But that is Winter Squirrel in this little frame. Just bought it at Walmart. So that was fun. And then 24 was my year in chalk. I've stitched that whole year, so there's 12 of them, but I've split them up into groups of 3. So number 24 was August, September, and October. So I think I mentioned in the last video I hadn't 100% decided how I was going to finish those, and that I knew I had an old like chalkboard slate kind of thing, kind of like what kids used back in the old day, that I was thinking maybe I might use it. So this is it here. So obviously I didn't use it because it's too big. Like it's much bigger than I need. So I might save it for something else, but it's obviously not in the best of shape. I don't even know where this came from. Like, I don't know if it's something just that we had in my house growing up, and when we cleaned out my mom's house, I just claimed it. I don't know. You know, when I was little, we went to like this little Sunday school that was sort of like it wasn't associated with the church or anything, but I know eventually that closed down. So I don't know if we got this when that closed down. I'm not sure, but yeah, like it says it was made in Germany. So, but yeah, so that's what I was going to use. But as you'll see, it's much bigger than what I needed. I was thinking it was like half that size kind of thing. And if it was, that would have been perfect. So what I did end up doing, so here's sort of how I finished them. So I did lace these guys, and then, tape's coming off. And then these pieces again are just on a little piece of, this is actually comic board, but I just used double-sided tape to hold that on. And then I did glue this on here because I wanted to have a really secure thing, and then I put a bunch of heavy books on it, so you can see it's kind of. So that's how I finished them all. So this is October, obviously. This is September, and then this is August. So my other idea for finishing was to do them on like a clipboard, which I think is what Kathy had done originally with the series. So I was able to find like a little clipboard on Amazon. It's by Tim Holtz, and it turned out to be the perfect size. And so then this, I just painted this. I kind of wanted it to match the chalkboardy feel, but the front I actually crackle painted. So I did the gray underneath and then put the crackle medium on and then painted white over. And this actually, because this clipboard by Tim Holtz is made for like scrapbooking and stuff, like this comes off very easily. Like they've made that very easy with these screws on the back. So it was really easy just to take that off, paint the board, and put it back on again. So again, I don't know if I put the crackle medium on. This isn't what I envisioned, but it actually in the long run works just fine, because when you put the stitching on it, it covers most of that stuff up, and you just sort of get the distressed looking wood. And I sanded the edges so some of the gray would come through. So yeah, so and that hangs up right over here. There's a little 3M plastic hook on this backsplash right by our door where you go out, and so it just hangs there. And yeah, then I can change it out every month and admire my stitching. So yeah, I was really happy with how it turned out. So, but yeah, like you can see with this, just have to be careful because this chalkboard isn't really secure. Like these guys are so little, I could put 2 on there, right? So, you know, if I was a creative person, I guess I could have used this and then just, you know, did something with, like write something with chalk on the other side, but I'm not that creative, and I didn't like the idea of having chalk near my stitching, just all the dust and stuff. So yeah, so that's 2 more squares marked off on my Whip Go board. So the year in chalk and the winter squirrel. So no bingos yet, but we're getting close. So yeah, so let's just do a little bit of happy mail. I only have one chart that I purchased off of a D-Stash group, and it is this cute little Bent Creek cattle lantern. I had seen this years ago and just thought it was so adorable and wasn't able to find it, and so I saw somebody was offering it up for sale, and I thought I will claim that because I just think he's so cute. Might be a good small for a smalls exchange or something. And that's all I have for Happy Mail, nothing else. So then that brings us to plans. So yeah, April, I may or may not have a video, so we'll just have to wait and see. I have been distracted by a video game called Animal Crossing. For any of you gamers out there, you'll know. It was the 5-year anniversary of the release of that game on March 20th, and I decided that I wanted to revisit the game and restart my island that I had made way back in 2020, and yeah, experience the game again from the beginning. So that's kind of what I've been doing with my free time. So my stitching is, I'm stitching even less because my free time is taking up playing that game. So we'll see. I might get to a point where I just really miss my stitching and will choose stitching over playing the video game, but I may not. So if I don't have a lot of stitching to share in April, I won't do a video in April, but I'm sure I'll be back in May with some stitching at that point. So, but again, you never know. I might be back on schedule at the end of April as usual. So stay tuned to see. If I do carry on with my stitching as I have been, the projects that are coming up, one will be Fox and Friend. That's the one I should have been working on this week technically, so it's next in line to be worked on whenever I do start stitching again. The next one after that is Quiet Night, which is a Dimensions kit. It's a petite, so it's one of the smaller ones, but it's quite a bit of stitching and a lot of detail and a lot of color changes. But it features the artwork of Fred Swan, and I really like his artwork. The next one after that will be Cardinals in a Christmas Tree, which is full coverage charted by Artisy, featuring the artwork of Abraham Hunter. I just have a small start on that, so I am excited to kind of get to it and try and get some more work into it. And then the fourth one would be Blackwork Rainbow, which is a blackwork project by Peppermint Purple, I think it is. That, again, potentially could maybe be a finish if I did dedicate a whole week to it, but I'm not sure about that. So, but those are the ones, if I am working, that's what I'm going to be working on. And then obviously I'll still try to do some work on Walk with Dog and my Weimaraner to keep progressing on those as well. So the other thing I'll be trying to get to in April are my Whip Go calls. So the ones called for April are this number 4, which is my Doreen Jones Christmas stitch along that I did, and then number 10, which is the Cotton and Twine. I just called it Robinson Tree because I don't know if it had a name. So this is the Cotton and Twine, and this I know I do want to turn into a project bag, so I just need to sort of sort out how I'm going to do that, what that's going to look like, kind of thing. And then the Doreen Jones is like this. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to put this in a frame or some sort of a frame. I may even finish it kind of like I did. Not sure if you watched my Flossmas from last year, but I stitched a little Christmas pattern in time lapse. And I ended up finishing it. It was like a little wooden tray type thing that I just got at the dollar store. So I might do something similar for this one as well. Is just pop it in something like that. So, but yeah, that was super cute and fun to do. So those are the Whip Goes for April. So that is everything I have to share for today. As I say, my plans for April are a little bit up in the air right now, just depending on what direction I take with my leisure time. So yeah, as I say, stay tuned. If you don't see me in April, that's probably why, because I'm happily hanging out on a virtual tropical island, building things and collecting things and crafting things. But if the novelty wears off, then I'll be back to stitching, and I will see you at the end of April. But I will see you when I see you. Thanks so much for stopping by, guys. See you later. Bye. Don't worry, we will protect you.
Yeah.
Don't be doing that.